Hello, legends. What was that? Was it 12:33 or 12:34? It was right on the cusp, wasn't it? Hello, friends. So let's have a look at this. This is Sean Galloway, who I believe is George Galloway's son. He's put out this tweet. Some things never change. Piracy in the name of the empire. Just seems rum has been replaced with coke and the cannons with Black Hawk helicopters. But on a slightly more serious note, this tells you everything you need to know, friends. Look, there you go. Trump's week-long blitz sparks NATO panic, but Venezuela, Greenland and oil seizures are only the start. As his audacious, sorry about this pop-up, I don't know why that's, there we go. As his audacious 33-page plan for the new world order is revealed. It's those pesky numbers again, isn't it? Let's get into it. Hello friends, how we doing, legends? Hope this finds you fine. I've just got back from the gym. I've had my green smoothie today, so we're absolutely on fine, firing, and our spiritual armor is on. So all of this is just absolute nonsense to me. Please don't take this seriously. I'm getting lots of mails from people that are worried, they're afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of, friends. Once you realize you are the divine, you're the divine manifestation of the all, the everything, and all of this is just, it's fluff to try to err you off the path and keep you in your lower self. So remember, ours is not a battle against flesh and blood. It's against spiritual wickedness in high places, which happens to be being manifested by the likes of a certain president and his favourite country in the Middle East. Hey, so in no particular order, I'm just going to try and smash through this today, folks. If I haven't met you, I'm Chris Thrall. I'm a former Royal Marines commando. Today, we're not so much scrapping physically. We're more scrapping against this dark energy, and we're helping to enlighten people as to unleash their full potential and basically achieve balance in your life so you too can wake up every day in paradise. That is it. And do you know why? Because you're worth it. You're an absolutely super lovely person. You've had knocks over the years, haven't you? If you're watching this now, I'm guessing like all of us, you've taken a bit of a battering. And there are days that come along and they just seem a bit much and they get you down. And I get it. The reason is we got to do a slight paradigm shift here for you. And we got to get you realizing that all of that is just noise, and we don't tune into that. We don't tune into the negative people, the haters who are battling with their trauma too. We tune into the divine energy, because then we're never alone and life starts to get good. And then you'll start seeing 33 in a good light. Right, let's get on to it. In no particular order, I'm going to try and whip through this and do a new format for the show, folks, because these these lives, they take me hours to do the research, get the articles together, then present it. And in fact, on that note, why don't we all like and subscribe, friends? You know, has any other YouTuber ever said, I love you and I love you unconditionally and massively, and we've got this and there's nothing to be afraid about? I doubt many will, folks. The wonderful John St. Julian, obviously, because most people haven't joined up all the dots yet and realised this is a battle against love. So if you can like and subscribe, let's do this one together, hey? Right, in no particular order, we've been looking at the numbers. These numbers are getting around. I've just seen people tweeting out the Chris Thrall podcast on X, Xing out, whatever you call it these days, because they've been paying attention. Look, there's the article 233 we covered in the constitutional path of Venezuela. Should their president get deposed? This is the time that the strikes hit in Venezuela. 233, 33 boat strikes so far on these alleged drug smugglers, fishermen, and this one, wasn't it? Look, 33 kilometers off Venezuela. We get this, like, so we're getting the idea now. This is a masonic code, folks. This is an esoteric code that's used by the cabal. When I say masonic, I'm not talking about these guys that go down the lodge on a Friday, and you know them, I know. This is something higher. But what I will say is, I'm not writing off Freemasonry as benign. When you get a whole group of, let's say, people in life that find it important to be in a special club, what's driving them? Do you think they're being driven by the light? Or do you think they're being driven by ego? And as we all well know, we certainly do if you've watched my show, if you're an ego-driven person, that becomes a dangerous thing. And one thing I'd say further is, there's a reason that the cabal put out a film called Minions. You can do the maths. Right, moving on. We looked at Maduro in court. He's wearing the orange of the penal system. Penal system is loved by cabal for its darkness, the fact that it doesn't rehabilitate people who've erred on the path. It punishes them, and it turns them out quite often to be just as damaged as when they went in. But the orange in gematria, we're going to come on to a bit of gematria in a bit, is 33. Why is he doing the diamond? Why, out of everything they could have featured in his court picture, have they pictured the diamond? Diamond in gematria, also 33. So signature code of the cabal. Moving swiftly on. This is Greenland's former Minister of Industry. So it's in this article here on Yahoo. Trump says he won't rule out military attack to seize Greenland. I know it sounds mental. We're going to explain why are they doing this. But just to let you know, all a cabal operation, they've got to feature a 33-year-old former Minister of Industry just to drop the code in. Americans, here's CNN, Americans fear getting bogged down in Venezuela. There's 33% approval. And then we come on to this one. Trump's week-long blitz sparks NATO panic. But Venezuela, Greenland, and oil seizures are only the start. Has his audacious 33-page plan for the New World Order is released. Now, what I'm going to do, folks, I'm going to go over to locals and go through this. It's probably a bit too deep and heavy for the other platforms. So if you want to join my locals friends, there's the link on the bottom of the screen now, or there's a link in the description box. It's free to join, but if you pay, I think it's like £3 a month, then you get all my life coaching, and you get all my after YouTube videos. So after YouTube, we go to locals, is what I'm trying to say. £3 a month, folks. Don't give me any shit, because you pay more than that for like 3 cups of coffee a day that's poisoning you without even thinking about it. I got bills to pay just like you are, believe it or not. I haven't yet met anyone that works for free, unless they're obviously a volunteer worker. So, yes, what is it all about? Why suddenly are they invading these countries? They try to make it under the auspices of cocaine smuggling. In Greenland, they tried to say it was, we're worried about China and Russian boats up there, as if that's, as if invading Greenland changes the fact, unless, of course, you're going to build a massive naval base in a country you've just stolen. But many of you have worked it out. It's about the precious minerals. It's about the minerals that these countries contain, along with the oil, a source of power, but moreover, it's the minerals. Why do they want minerals? Well, look at this. Again, they got the signature code in the article. A generative AI system might use 33 times more energy than machines running task-specific software. What does that mean? Oh, nearly blew myself up. What does it mean? It means that if you type a query into AI, like a search engine like Grok or ChatGPT, like a lot of people are doing, that takes 33 times more power than if you were to, say, type it into Google. And if you think of the absolute chuff that AI is being used for by the masses, to do a picture of them, with a Mohican riding a motorbike across 76 hedgehogs. Bit random, I know, but that's kind of stuff I'm seeing. You can see, it's like, we're kind of lost sheep, aren't we? That's what we do. We get something as brilliant as AI, or the potential for it, and what do? It's just being our precious energy reserves, the Earth's finite resources, or certainly we're led to believe, are just being squandered, creating more and more pollution and trash, rubbish in landfill sites, all this, all this materials used to build these data centers and the subsequent technology, and it's all being done in the name of somebody in the office can send a stupid picture to everybody else on the net, across the shared email. So that's it. And by 2030, which is only 4 years away, they reckon that the energy needs on the planet will double. So, in short, if you are, well, look, this answers who's behind this.
An elected president and put him on trial in American courts, then why is it impossible to capture Benjamin Netanyahu from Israel and bring him before international court?
Right. I don't know who this chap is, because I don't watch television, folks. I'm guessing he's an honest politician, if there ever is such a thing. But he's asking in court, how come, Maduro, who's smuggling a bit of coke or whatever he's doing down there, and maybe not being the best president ever. But how come they can go straight in and take him out, whereas old Bibi's committing a genocide, and literally, his gang are gaslighting the whole planet and have done for several hundred years now through their Sabbatean Frankist doctrine and their faking of narratives, can we say, and then threatening people that if they dare question anything, that they'll either be publicly humiliated or in some countries face prison. We kind of know who's behind it. So in short, what's it all about? It's about the data, your data. These guys want to get it before anybody else for their new, quote unquote, new world order. We already saw the same gameplay with the events in New York and Washington 20 years back, or 24 years back as it was, where the Project for New American Century, aka they called it the neocons, which was just a very palatable metaphor for, or pseudonym rather, for the cabal. So people like, was it Kagan and Wolfowitz, Bolton, all the likes of that lot, cabal operatives, said that we need to basically expand America's military presence around the globe in order to secure our dominance in the planet. Remember, this is not talking about American dominance. American president doesn't give excuse my French, a shit about the American people. If they did, the first thing they'd be doing would be getting people into employment, fixing the roads, practicing equality with the black community, education, getting people off food stamps, So you clearly know no one that's ever in power cares about the American people. They're just going to get the little bit of, like, when you feed the fish, you just do enough, don't you, to sort of keep them alive. You don't care for any sort of, to keep them alive and to keep them dumbed down. So Project for New American Century was never about making it better for the American people or you and I. It was about securing the military-industrial complex's dominance globally. And that paper that they wrote, called Rebuilding America's Defenses, specifically said this is not going to come around, this dominance, lest we have a new world order. New Pearl Harbor. And of course, what happened 1 year later, they had their new Pearl Harbor, didn't they? With rather bizarre structures falling out the sky. And just to show this is not the American people or in everybody was complicit in it. Just like the medical nonsense, where every single person around the planet was under the thumb of this cabal and went along with it, except you legends that refused all that shit, like I obviously did. And a sprinkling of professionals, 99% of which still buy into germ theory anyway, so their voice is not particularly that or contagion theory, should I say. Their voice is probably not particularly that helpful. But this is the power of it. And as we saw back then, the BBC complicit in it, broadcasting that a certain building had done that 40 minutes before it had done, etc., etc. Someone in the UK actually took them to court, refused to pay the license and said, I don't support errorism. And of course, he lost in court. Why? Because a lot of them are Masons, aren't they? And this is what I was saying earlier. When you get this egotistical pyramid, which you have to jump through and do special favors for people for fear of, getting blackballed or whatever the penance for that is. these systems become dangerous, folks. Just like the military's dangerous. You've got egotistical young men, majority of whom from damaged backgrounds, all there trying to prove themselves to a daddy who never loved them enough that I can go off and be a big tough guy and, you know, drop ordnance on these goat herders. And yeah, not good. So that was Project for a New American Century. Now we're just seeing the same thing. Back then it was for the oil. Now it's for the resources for the AI engines, because the rise of the machines. They warned you. They do tell you what they're going to do, don't they? Terminator. Anyone who saw the Terminator, it's almost bizarrely real. I don't know about the big robotic, monstrous machines, but certainly the subtle AI in the background. It could have been some sort of allegory. Moving swiftly on, folks. So, a problematic cocaine user, a gay man married to a bloke who likes to dress up as a woman, and a guy who keeps getting his car burnt to the ground by Ukrainian rent boys walked into a bar. Oh, when you see it, isn't it great not being in the Matrix? Isn't it absolutely amazing? Folks, this is the beauty of, don't let this shit get to you. Just laugh at it. Look, there'll be people now absolutely like creaming in their pants because of this shit. They'll be discussing this in work and just totally, any form of reality is just going right over their heads. What's this about? I'm not even going to pretend to know. I could probably sit down and reflect on it enough to work it out. But so if a peace deal's arranged, then they're going to send troops in. So at the very minimum, this is just spinning out a conflict that the arms companies have made an absolute fortune on. Now, let's go to a bit more gematria, because we had this ship, didn't we? We had this ship that's called the Mariana, but and it's a Russian ship. So not only is it bizarre, or allegedly it's trying to fly under a Russian flag. It's saying in the media it's a Russian flag vessel. But if you're trying to broker a peace deal with Putin in the Ukraine, why simultaneously would you then go and commit this act of absolute provocation? Particularly on a ship, I think it was empty. This is some sort of just ridiculous gameplay. Let me know in the comments like what you think. But the ship's original name, or the name it was changed from, probably to hide its identity, was Bella 1. And not surprising in ordinal gematria. Ordinal gematria is where you just assign the number to the letters, but you don't do the reduction by adding them together. The ordinal gematria is 33 there. The other ship, Sophia, incidentally, that they've also apprehended, or whatever. What do you call it when a military... Yeah, whatever that word is. That's 32 in gematria. Let me know in the comments what you think. Why do they seem to favour the 32? Off the top of my head, Skull and Bones is 322 Lodge. The chap in Las Vegas there going pop, 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 pop. He was 32 years old, firing from the 32nd floor, and his brother lived in house 320 when he did the... interviews for the press in front of the masonic window behind him. Sorry, folks, if it sounds like I'm having a go, I'm not having a go at Porch Freemasons. Simply for the reason I know that they got no clue about what we're talking about. I know because I mates with them. My mate, I think I told you, is a grandmaster, and his two buddies are master masons, and we went camping a while back, and I was trying to talk about the scam vid, and they was just like and not only that, but you can't profess to be an Enlightenment order and have some of the nasty people that I know that are members of the lodge. They're not enlightened. They're not spreading peace and love. They're massive egomaniacs. So it's a weird one. Dun dun dun. What else have I got here? Here's some stuff, folks. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go over to locals. This is Venezuela was Israel's target all along. This is Steve Witkoff announcing that Ukraine is close to finalizing a deal, a prosperity agreement with BlackRock. We know who BlackRock are, do we not? BlackRock are just more of the apparatus of the cult of Saturn, the black cube cult, who's behind all events as we see them, if you ask me. What we got here, Israel now has full control. This is talking about, we're going to talk about the Hasbara project, and gosh, this puts it in context, doesn't it? Today's thumbnail, by the way, was just to sort of dig at like what happened on Epstein Island. What the president's been hanging around with that guy for like 40 years or something. Certainly back to the 90s. Remember when his company founded, his casino venture in Atlantic City founded, and the Rothschilds, through Wilbur Ross, the Rothschilds financier, they bailed Donald Trump out. At the same time, he was doing all those, what are they called? Beauty pageants, beauty miss whatever contests in cahoots with Jeffrey Epstein. This is the damage, isn't it? When they've got stuff on people like Tony Blair, or the toilet cleaner, as he's often referred to, mainly on this show, because we shouldn't slag other people off, folks, but you got to use some examples so people can see what's going on here. Nothing against Tony. Well, I mean, we have got quite a lot against him, haven't we, really? But what I mean is, what a massive victim. Gosh, victim of the darkness. But yeah, what happened? What have they got against a certain chap? And Palantir there, we'll look at their $1 billion contract. So, folks, I'm going to come on to the chat. Before I do, could you like and subscribe? That would be absolutely brilliant. Before I come to the chat, two things I'm going to do. One is I'll tell you our way out of this, which people struggle to understand. The second, or before I do that, I just want to chat about my upcoming Mount Everest summit. As you know, I'm going to summit Mount Everest in May to shine a light for our struggling veterans like I was when I left the military, ended up homeless and chronically mentally unwell on the streets of Hong Kong. I want to be using my platform, my voice, my, 160 or 70,000 people on social media to say, look, why are we not talking about childhood trauma when it comes to veteran suicide, which happened to my buddy Craig, which didn't happen to him. He took his own life. Craig was supposed to be rowing the Atlantic with us, folks, in our sister boat, and he took his own life, not least of which he left these two beautiful dogs behind. This chap here, he's Sergeant Andrew Borthwick, who's found dead at his home last month, and he had 3 children, I believe, just like buddies of mine who've taken himself out of the game, who had 4 children, folks. And nobody in any of this has talked about childhood trauma. It's never mentioned. We need to start waking up to this and discussing what makes, for poor adult mental health, it's unhealed and undiagnosed childhood trauma. Because if we don't know that we're damaged, how can we heal? And the irony, as you're seeing here, living witness that I am, is when you heal, you live a phenomenal life and you become a powerful force for good. As your wonderful comments to me enlighten me to. Thank you very much. But I'm not doing this for me, folks. Well, probably am a bit. I'm just doing it because I've been blessed to be bestowed with this knowledge just through perseverance and reflection. But in the military, no one ever talks about it. It's no wonder so many people are living in their lower self, slave to the beast material system. And when they start to worry, like Craig there, I read his book. You can read it. It's online. Craig Ainsworth was Craig's surname. His book, it talked for chapters about his turbulent, damaged childhood. Didn't mention a father briefly in that. So we're talking an absent parent. This you take this into adulthood with you if you're not aware of it, and if you aspire to the darkness, the material world. What happens is every time you get a challenge, that absent parent figure and the feelings that they made you feel, like abandonedness, unwantedness, not good enough, that overbearing parent, son, do it like this, what all of us, like so many of us went through. That figure pops up, doesn't it, in your psyche. It starts telling you again that you're not good enough, you're not worthy. You're not. No one's going to like you. And when you're at a low ebb after coming out of the military and your big head's gone, you're now realizing A, you're just a normal person like everyone else. B, the public don't give a shit you're in the military, except the sycophants that thank you for your service, sir, and all that American bullshit that's been put into society to maintain war. Then you start drinking because that's what you're taught to do. Before you know it, you're spiraling down. The missus and the kids have gone because they can't be around this shit. And then you're in a dark place. And I'm just here to say it doesn't need to be like that. Someone needs to start speaking up. So if you can spare folks a $5 to help me on my way, between you and me, I'm borrowing. I would say £40,000 for this, which don't ask me how I'm ever going to pay that back. I can promise you don't earn that on YouTube. But you wonderful people have really made a big dent in that. So thank you ever so much. If you can spare a $5, there's a link below, folks. And I was going to come on to what we can be doing, but the truth is, I've just sort of covered it, heal the past. In fact, look, I've written this out for people. Heal the past, forgive and leave it behind. Because if you're being triggered by the New World Order, which is not what we want, whatever Donald Trump does should not affect you. Whatever immigration shit crap policy of illegals in the UK, that should not affect you in any way, shape or form when you walk out the front door in the morning. But what happens is, here's the third dimension down here. This is the hardcore matrix. People believe in like what they see on the TV, the BBC News, and living their indoctrinated life from school. And then we got a lot of people, I would suggest many people are probably going to watch this video. They wake up to this bullshit. They realize buildings don't just fall out of the sky. They realize that other people, they don't, there ain't a bogeyman that can jump from one person into another. It's fucking nonsense. The only people that come up with that bullshit are the medical companies, because they make so much money on gullible, uneducated people that just believe the superstition from their parents' generation and never bother to read a book on it. If you're interested, folks, incidentally, to find out the true cause of your health, start with Pasteur versus Antoine Béchamp, and you won't go wrong. There's some videos on YouTube about that. But what happens is, when you realize that, possibly these procedures they're trying to force on everybody, probably not that, it's not that they're probably not, it's that they're actually like, you should be staying the hell away. Then this called waking up. So fourth dimension is waking up, but the problem is you're in the matrix. And typical of the conversations I have are, yeah, but Chris, when are the army, they're there, aren't they? They're going to come and they're going to rise up, and the army going to do shit. They're egomaniacs, order followers that are all like too busy marching up and down the square and polishing their good boy medals. Sorry, I don't mean to be offensive to you veterans. I'm just saying it. This is how the system works, right? This is how the system works. They're so unenlightened and living in the lower animal self, in the beast system, that they aren't going to come. They're looking for their next orders to tell them what to do. In addition, even if they did rise up to kind of, overthrow anything, immediately what would happen with the infighting amongst these egotistical types would be so enormous, they wouldn't be able to agree on anything. And remember, you're subject to special knowledge. 99% of this once wonderful country, England, are still under the belief that all that medical stuff was in their best interest. They might be slightly, okay, maybe that's figures subjective. I don't just mean the medical stuff. What I mean is, in their mind, 99% of people are, is it assuage? Is that the right word? They're justifying what all that was about in their mind, because their framework of reality couldn't handle the fact that they might all be being abused and being wrong, and being used as pincushions, etc. They can't. So their mind is desperately sticking with their MK Ultra fear-based mind control, and going with no. How many servicemen want to hear the truth about what happened in New York and Washington, when off the back of that they went into a sovereign nation and two sovereign nations and invaded them and committed atrocities? War's great, isn't it, when you're also on the side of righteousness? But what if you're like the aggressor committing the atrocities? How does that? Do you know what I mean? This is a hard thing for people to go, yeah, you're right, actually. It's a sign of a very strong, morally grounded, advanced in their thinking individual. Someone who's put time in to and who's not scared. You got to have the balls to say stuff like this, So there you go. So getting back to the thing, just because you understand that the medical stuff's a load of shit, that doesn't mean that you're enlightened. That just means you're awake in the matrix. And the conversation I have is, when are the army coming around? They're not. Okay, and if they did, it would be a bag of shit. Just like the truth movement. There is no truth movement. There's these protests where everybody goes up and everyone's there for a different reason. You got one person with a placard saying, bring down the orange man. They got the guy there going, hey, up the QAnon, orange man's going to say. There's no cohesion in it. They'll fight each other at the drop of a hat. You got some people up there thinking that somehow that this protest is going to transform into some kind of military incursion, and they're all going to suddenly develop these weapons that we haven't even got in this country because they banned all the weapons ages ago. You know, it's all a bit mental. And the notion of kind of peaceful direct action. So remember, like Nelson Mandela originally, he was blowing stuff up, wasn't he? Like radio masts and that sort of stuff. And then he realised down the line, no, the best course of action was direct action, but peaceful. Just sit down and refuse to go to work for a start. That's one thing. You know, what about, I'm not suggesting this, folks, but, you know, what if everyone went in a capital city and sat down in the street? What effect would that have on the commerce, on the, you know, this? I'm just exploring stuff that you never really get. You never really. I don't think you're going to see in the truth movement because everyone's got a different idea of what's what. So my point is, isn't it better to adopt enlightenment as your thing? So at the very minimal, you are a spiritual warrior, that you wake up every day in paradise, feeling, literally physically feeling the divine energy running through you, and knowing that you have now become a beacon of light for all the lost sheep in the world, who will look to you and say, do you know what? I actually want some of what that guy's got, because he's always happy. He's fit, healthy, eats a balanced diet, achieves every single goal that he ever sets out to do. He's loved by, many people. Like, I want that. What I don't want is like that angry guy there shouting at protests, walking up to coppers and, being aggressive and looking like a bag of shit. Not that we judge people, but the picture, you know the one, the ones, right? And yeah. And what are you doing? If you need to address this energy in dark places that we talked about, you need to do it through energy, vibration, and frequency, which is what you put out. And if you're putting out energy up here, then you're bringing people up. If you're putting out dark energy because you're down here refusing to leave the matrix, you're saying, hey, yeah, this Keir Starmer, he's rubbish, isn't he? But if we can get that Nigel Farage in, all this is going to change. Because, Nigel Farage, he's not a merchant banker, is he? He's not a merchant. The cabal of merchant. Do you see what I'm saying? People they're not making that link, are they? They're not making that link that it's all the same arse on the same cheek, or whatever that expression is. So there you go, folks. I've given you a little bit of idea here. If you want to start leaving fourth dimension, stop being Mr. Awake and sharing 5,000 videos every day and actually start addressing the situation, then you need to develop the Christ within and stop pretending Christ is without, which is have you seen the psyop that's been done in England and the other four countries at the minute, the Christian psyop? Suddenly, all these like beer belly, lager lout football monsters, they've all become overnight Christians. I don't need to say who they follow, do I? And yes, I am laughing a bit at other people's expense, folks. You'll forgive me, but I'm doing it to make a point. They've never been in a church in their life. What are they on about, except for a funeral and a wedding? All suddenly they've now become they've all become Florence Nightingale. It's you got to develop the Christic. Christ just means the anointed one. The anointed with a sacred secretion, the oil of gladness, to give me oil in my lamp, keep me burning. I'm pointing to my head because it's in your head. Everything in Scripture is about what is going on in your head right now and your body. It's not about other people. It's not about developing a political movement and marching and crusading. That's just the division that the cabal want. And anyone who's pushing for that, you need to question their intentions or possibly their finances. Yeah, there we go. All right, my lovelies. I said enough on here. I said I'd come to the chat, didn't I? Let's have a look. There we go. Yes, thank you, sample user. For some reason, you crop up in every live chat. Folks, before I go any further, can we just like and subscribe? Please, if you can like and subscribe, click the notification bell, share these videos, whatever. You know, no one's coming to save us except ourselves. That's it. And the majority of the people that think they're awake are just walking us down the garden path into, you know, the civil war that the cabal have been planning, that anybody who's read, you know, the sort of literature over the years know this is what the Sabbateans want. They want darkness. Right, where are we going? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, there we go. You too, Neil. Much love back to you, brother. That's the way forward. Yes, Connor's getting it. It's about vibration, isn't it? Very hard to be a high vibrational being when you live in depravity, like a lot of these, you know, these quote unquote elites do. There you go. Come on, saying I take it by CT. You don't mean Chris Thrall. Come on. Council tax, folks. It's another one. The problem is, come on, like these people that are proponents of like stop paying your bills and you're just illegal fiction and they're just confusing everyone because they all say different stuff, don't they? There's no cohesion there. And if they want to have effect, I've said this a lot, they need to get together and just sort their act out. What are we actually going for? Because I so totally agree with most of what they all say, but there's no sort of practical way in which to put it in place, because one person doesn't pay their council tax, great. This person doesn't pay it, suddenly they're getting their house repossessed. So it's I think we need more clarity on all this stuff, don't we? Yeah, under the English Constitution we have a right to bear arms. Isn't that what Graham's always saying? Someone's been doing their numerology. Well done, Sven. Yes. There we go. All right, my lovely. Let's get over the locals and let's have a look at this 33-page plan for the new world order. If you can like and subscribe, friends, you know the score. That'd be absolutely awesome. Massive love to you all. Keep smiling. Don't let this stuff get you down. You are what you want to be. Get out there. Smash it. Wicked. Excellent. Bye-bye.
Morning, legends. I'm Chris Thrall. I'm a former Royal Marines commando. Upon leaving the forces, ended up chronically mentally unwell, self-medicating, undiagnosed trauma, and homeless on the streets of Hong Kong. It was the toughest battle I ever had to fight, but without the support of the medical community, without self-help groups, I learned the answers to rebuild my life and go on to complete a series of extreme charity challenges to send a vital message out there for other veterans who are struggling. I've run the length of the United Kingdom, run across the Sahara Desert, rode across the Atlantic Ocean. Now I'm taking on my biggest challenge yet, climbing Mount Everest. If you can support me, friends, and continue to shine a light for our struggling veterans and let them know there is life after PTSD, I'll put a link below. Can spare a $5? That's absolutely fine. And let's give our veterans the respect that they deserve. Much love.